is also seeking to be an international player and to, as it were, play by the rules. So I think wherever you go, you're going to see elements of these four dimensions of China's global diplomatic strategy, and each of these elements may be expressed in the energy strategy in different parts of the world. How can the USA and Europe keep its leadership in the region, in Latin America? I don't know. I'm not a strategic studies specialist. I think particularly I look at Africa, and I would say that there China really has woken up the USA and Europe to the fact that they've gone to sleep on Africa policy these last 10 years. My knowledge of foreign relations in Latin America is less sophisticated, and I think that China is going to make less of an impact there than it has in Africa. But I'm prepared to receive comments on that. Looking at Brazil and how does Brazil sort of fit into this political game, my view is that given the nature of Brazil's economy, strength of its economy, its existing relationships with other Latin American countries and with the West, and its engagement with international oil and gas markets, my feeling is, as you implied, that they should take a fairly neutral approach and play with whoever turns up to play the game, but don't play the game too politically, but rather rely on markets. If people come with investments, that's fine. If people come with loans, that's fine. But try not to make the thing too political, because politics is sometimes even more unpredictable than economics. But again, I'd be happy to receive
question from a student that comes from a big oil producer country, is from Iran.
Hello. Well, my question is a bit general, but I hope you can help me. The supporting of environmental education is a global challenge for promotion of energy efficiency, especially due to the consumerist behavior model used in the 21st century. So, based on your experience, do you know any success cases among the countries of course, the first and third world? Well, this is my first question, and the second one is basically, in your discussion you never mentioned Saudi, and they have one of the largest reservoirs in the world. I'm talking about Saudi Arabia. So is there any political issues behind this, or no?
Sorry, could you repeat the second question again?
The second question was about, during your discussion about the Middle East, you never mentioned Saudi Arabia, okay? And I'm asking, is there any political issues behind this? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The first question, I think, was all about, are there some success stories in environmental management and sustainable development in either developed or developing countries? And I think the answer is, particularly if we take large countries, small countries, I think there probably are success stories, but I think all large nations, anything, say Britain or larger, are really struggling to develop sustainable energy policies and to implement them. And why? I guess you're picking up on it, that I raised at the beginning of my talk, which was, I'm not certain about attitudes amongst the Chinese population to the environment and to energy efficiency. I could say the same in Britain, and I'm sure you could probably the same in Portugal and the same in Brazil, that we all support taking steps against global warming. We all support green development, sustainable development. We all support energy efficiency as long as we don't have to do it. And certainly in Britain today, we have this wonderful example of, in Scotland, which is a country of 5 million people, vast empty spaces and lots of wind. Developers are seeking to build wind farms. but at the same time, people are demonstrating and objecting to wind farms being built near their houses because they don't look very nice. So then we have to build the wind farms offshore, but we still have to bring the wires, the transmission wires, across the mountains to the markets where it's needed. And then people demonstrate because they don't like wires going across the mountains. And this is just an example, but I think it shows that we have a severe problem in the implementing sustainable development policies, even in a relatively small country like Britain, where we have relatively sophisticated legal and economic instruments. Now, if you will just hang on a moment, because there's something... Is the reception all right still?
Yes, it's okay.
It's okay? Fine. Okay, so that's my answer to that question. I think every sizable country in the world is facing severe Middle Eastern investments. Chinese national oil companies have one or two investments there. They're trying to get some very big investments, such as the North Pars and the South Pars gas fields, but this is making very slow progress. As I indicated, I suspect, but I don't know, that Iran is happy to use China to balance the influence of the West and of the USA, and this is a very convenient political lever for Iran, particularly in its discussions in the United Nations Security Council related to nuclear energy. And we have to remember, as I'm sure you will know, as you come from Iran, that China-Iran relations go back a very long time and cover a range of activities, including military technology. So yes, I think the relationship between Iran and China is highly political, and that energy is just part of the mix in there.
I'm sorry to intrude, but Amir is from Iran, but his question was about the political issues behind Saudi Arabia.
Ah, okay, Saudi Arabia, right. So that's what I missed in the question. I didn't get it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Saudi Arabia, I mean, it is a very difficult place to invest in, one, and so the Chinese do have a gas exploration block there, but not oil. Secondly, you can correct me, but it was only relatively recently, that only 10 years ago or so, that Saudi Arabia and China had diplomatic relations. So compared to Iran, their relationship is much younger. However, the King of Saudi Arabia visited China in 2006,